Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Day 20. You've made it so far. I'm so proud of you. Got two more laws left. Law 20 today, Law 21 tomorrow, and then a conclusion, and you guys will be done, and you'll know so much more than you did, I hope, about these laws of leadership, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So let's go into this one. Law 20, the law of explosive growth. To grow, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. To grow, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. That is the law of explosive growth. Everyone who's in leadership has this tension that they live in between where they are now and between where they want to be. There's always this pressure between where they are now and where they feel like their vision's taking them. That end goal that they have, that visualization, that idea of doing the first things first and putting the first things first, really visualizing where you want to be, which is a principle that Stephen Covey talks about in 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders. That pre-visualization that's different, that's the end goal of where they want to be, between that and where they are right now. How do you resolve that tension, that natural impatience, that natural desire that lives inside of a leader that can be developed to make them have this passion, have a desire to see the vision that is on the inside of them fulfilled? How do we do that? Well, here's how. You don't simply lead followers, because that results in growth. You lead leaders, which results in multiplication, and so exponential growth, explosive growth, as he talks about in this particular law, of your organization and of your leadership staff. Now, first, we got to understand there's a difference between leaders and every other breed. Leaders and followers, obvious. Leaders and managers, totally different as well, as Cotter talks about, and what leaders really do. As opposed to planning and budgeting, leaders set direction. As opposed to organizing and staffing, leaders align people. They put people where they need to be and position people and align them with people that would help increase the influence not only of themselves but of the organization. And rather than controlling activities, they motivate. And rather than solving problems, they sit there and inspire. Now, there is the bottom line to be considered. There are things that we need to consider, but Warren Bennett says it very well, that leaders with some management hints inside of them, they'll do the right thing the right way. We want people under you. You want leaders that are going to do the right thing, and they're going to do it the right way. Well, how do we get there? Well, first we have to understand that we have to develop leaders. And if we develop ourselves, that's awesome. If we develop a team, that's awesome. But if we develop leaders, that's amazing. We got to lead leaders. We need to learn how to lead leaders as some key influential people. Brad Lomenick of the Catalyst Movement, one of the largest leadership groups that's been growing exponentially across the last several years, he says, my life purpose is this: influence influencers. And that's, in essence, he's saying lead leaders. But leading takes time, energy, and resources. There's 3 reasons for this. First is that leaders are hard to find, which is why it's easiest and best for us to develop them. But second, leaders are hard to gather. There's a real conflicting issue sometimes between leaders that are very passionate. If you look at Cirque du Soleil, when their leadership team gets together to plan a brand new adventure, I call it an adventure, a brand new show, they're literally sitting there and shouting at each other, red in the face, almost getting in fights because they're so passionate. It's hard to gather leaders and keep them together like that. Finally, leaders are hard to keep. Once they feel like they're not being heard, or don't feel like they play a role anymore, they're looking for that next place, that next opportunity. How do we keep them? Well, we got to keep it fresh. We got to keep something new. We got to keep their voice being heard and to be vibrant. We got to allow them opportunities for them to lead. So how do we apply the law of explosive growth? I'd say we do 2 things. First, we understand that growth is not swelling, and swelling is not growth. Swelling is what happens when many numbers come at once. Growth is what happens over a gradual or sometimes quick period of time, but it remains. Growth remains. Leaders cause growth that remains. and I'd say again, we've gotten real self-reflection-y as we've been coming down to the end of this, and I think it's really important that we do so. So as we move through this and as we leave, we've really got a better understanding of who we are as a person and as a leader. You gotta ask yourself, what are you doing to find new leaders? How are you drawing new leaders in? What resources are you using? Are you putting up an ad? Are you asking people who are in other positions if they have leaders that they'd like to be developed in the context that you're working in the field that you're working in, the market share that you have? Are there people that you are directly talking to that are underneath you that you're developing as leaders? What are you doing? How are you doing that? How are you putting yourself in a position to lead leaders? Sit down, think about those questions, hash that out with yourself, and you'll figure out how you can better lead leaders. Why? Because explosive growth is essential to know how to handle, because success can either make you or it can crush you. Growth will come when we lead followers, but multiplication will come when we lead leaders. I hope that you get some leaders under you that you can lead and some influencers that you can influence so you see multiplication in your life as well. See you guys tomorrow.